This Top 10 Fantasy Football Receivers edition of the Sports Gambling Podcast is presented by MyBookie.ag. MyBookie is the official online sportsbook of the Sports Gambling Podcast. Use that promo code SGP50 and get a 50% deposit bonus. Play, win, and get paid over at MyBookie. We're also brought to you by Amazon. Log on to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Amazon. Bookmark that link and use it every time you shop on Amazon to score sweet savings and support the podcast. Oh, welcome everyone to the Sports Gambling Podcast. I'm Sean, stacking the money green with my partner in picks, Ryan, Real Money Kramer. What's happening, Ryan?
Everything's happening, Sean. Everything.
Everything is happening.
No, nothing's happening.
What's the sports calendar right now?
We're somewhere in between. You are listening to this sometime between the end of basketball and the beginning of football.
It's a wide area.
Otherwise known as baseball season.
Poor baseball. It's there. It's happening.
It's happening.
But Ryan, filling the gap, filling the void is the National Football League. We are taping this on what? June 20th?
June 20th.
June 20th. So maybe some
No,
guys.
it's June 21st, Sean.
Okay.
You did. Come on, man.
It's June 21st.
Okay.
We're taping this on June 21st just so that we get that out of the way, because you may be listening to this in August and you're like, oh, my God. You have DeAndre Hopkins in your top 10 receiver list. That guy got hit by a bus. What are you thinking?
First of all, if DeAndre Hopkins got hit by a bus, would the bus win?
Be bad news for that bus, man.
He did ride a bus. Or that was Deshaun Watson.
Deshaun Watson had to ride a bus because his lung was so jacked up. They couldn't. That is how crazy the National Football League is.
You think that's the real story? I think he had a bad case of, like, the shits. He just didn't want to get in an airplane.
Like Paul Pierce?
Oh, man.
That is how badass the NFL is. You're not healthy enough to sit on a plane, but somehow you're healthy enough to go out there and do battle with these other gladiators for 3 hours. So let me get this straight. You're not healthy enough to fly on a plane, but you are healthy enough to be sat on by a 300-pound man, to have your lights cleaned out by a 275-pound linebacker who runs a 4.3 40. It's because the NFL doesn't give a fuck. And that's why it's the greatest league of all time. And that's why we're talking about it 2 months before the season actually kicks off.
2 months?
Maybe even 3 months. 3 full months almost.
I think it's is it 12 or 11 Sundays? I've lost count.
Well,
it's a
Ryan,
simple number. I can't keep track.
I know. It is a lot of if you've lost track, you know what you can do. You can just go to Instagram.com/sportsgamblingpodcast. Follow us there as we count down to the start of the national football season. Got some fun videos up there right now. We got a Le'Veon Bell audio from him being robbed by some chicks. That's pretty fun.
Cold-blooded.
Some solid memes there.
Solid. 76 days, Sean.
76 days. Couple viral videos. Personal favorite. One of the funniest clips of all time, and it's from this. It's got to be like late 80s, early 90s. A javelin thrower tosses a javelin really, really far, and as luck would have it, it nails a judge. Just fucking.
I saw that. That was amazing.
It's an amazing throw. It's amazing the judge just stands there and gets hit by the javelin. Immediately throws it out of him.
Did he yell for?
You know, that's interesting. What is the proper etiquette when throwing a javelin? Do you have to yell anything?
What's odd? Shouldn't he have not been there? Or did this guy just throw it so far?
Yeah, it's one of those things. I'm not a javelin expert. I don't really follow the league day to day, the ins and outs of javelin tossing. But it seems odd that the judge, by all accounts, this was
Are they called judges?
Well, officials, whatever you call them. And it seemed like a great javelin toss. I don't know why you would be standing there. Where else would you? like there's other judges standing off to the side that didn't get hit by the javelin. It's not like he threw the javelin and it went into the crowd. Like he seemingly threw it exactly where he intended to throw.
It looked like he did really well. I mean, this looked like it was steroid era, but he was definitely a nice throw. It seemed like that guy maybe shouldn't have been standing there, right?
Yeah, or maybe that guy fucked his wife.
Yeah, it's like the dude that wanders out into the fairway to go hit his ball right as you're in your backswing.
Yeah, no business.
It's not my fault if I hit you.
No, Ryan, and you probably, if you're watching this, and that's right, you can watch the podcast. All you got to do is go to youtube.com/sportsgamblingpodcast. You will see that I'm still wearing my golf shirt and golf pants.
No wardrobe change.
In previous in the top 10 tight end episode of the fantasy football preview section, which you made fun of me for calling it an outfit. So now I'm referring it as my golf shirt and golf pants, not a golf outfit. And if you missed that podcast, you can get it all at sportsgamblingpodcast.com and iTunes.
I just want to know the guy that's like, what? I can watch you guys?
They want to see how this. They want to see me really lean into a live read. The fans, Ryan, they ask, they go, we love the MyBookie.ag live reads. Is there a way we can see it live? The hand gestures, the passion. Sean, sipping a Perrier, talking about the official online sportsbook of the Sports Gambling Podcast. And then, of course, MyBookie.ag. They're more than just a sponsor. They're a partner. A true partner in the game, helping keep the lights on over the Sports Gambling Podcast and Sports Gambling Podcast Network. And so why don't you throw them a bone? They've helped get you all this free content. Do them a favor by going to MyBookie.ag, signing up for your account. Football season's right around the corner. Depositing using our promo code SGP50 to get a 50% deposit bonus. And they got a little formula over there, Ryan. It's a 3-step process. The first step process is to play. The second step is to win. The third, final, and most important step is to get paid. MyBookie.ag, promo code SGP50. Rules and restrictions apply.
Rules and restrictions.
We got no rules, Ryan. We are just in no man's land, and we figured, fuck it. We're not going to break down the Women's World Cup or even more embarrassing baseball. We're just going to talk about the NFL, fantasy football. I'm already computing stacks for my DFS Week 1 lineup.
Stacks on stacks.
I know what you're thinking, Sean. Wow. We're going to be out in Las Vegas Week 1 for the NFL season. And not 2 years ago.
Oh. Was it 2 years?
2 years ago.
Or 3 years?
2 years ago. The Eagles also opened up against the Washington Redskins. You, Sean, played a lineup that helped you gain $200,000 over at DraftKings.com. Promo code SGP. Will you be playing that similar lineup as an anniversary present to yourself?
Wow.
Yes, I will.
You're going to play the same exact lineup.
Well, that will be one of the lineups I play.
But you're going to play – you can play that exact lineup? Everyone's still in the league?
And there's salary considerations. I was ahead of the curve on the Zach Ertz bandwagon. You named Zach Ertz your second tight end.
Let's just walk this down. And honestly, Sean, real quick though, you mentioned how MyBookie is more than a sponsor; they're a partner.
Yes.
Happy Pride Month, Sean.
Okay.
Just talking about partners.
All right.
Sorry. Get back to your spiel about your DraftKings.
Can I play this lineup? Well, let me know where you see the issues. And I already see one. Carson Wentz at quarterback. Yes, he's still in the league. LaShawn McCoy, still in the league.
Well, Wentz might not be healthy. So would you play Sudfeld if Wentz isn't available for Week 1?
That is a disgusting act.
Ryan, you've already jinxed him into one ACL injury, so you can keep trying, but you're not going to stop us. LaShawn McCoy at running back. My other running back, Theo Riddick.
Ooh, interesting.
I think he's still in the league. Antonio Brown. We'll talk about him, I'm assuming, coming up here shortly. Amari Cooper.
That is a disgusting act.
I don't know if I can play Amari Cooper because he's on the Cowboys. DeAndre Hopkins. Yes, I can play him.
Wow.
Zach Ertz.
I don't think you can afford this lineup.
Zach Ertz. Again, yeah, Zach Ertz was 3,900 in DraftKings. Now he's like probably 7,500. And then my flex spot, Tariq Cohen. And then Philly's defense. So unlikely that I'd be able to afford that, but maybe some sort of combination. And that just shows you, Ryan, the fact that I can't afford this 2 years later, it shows you just how ahead of the game I was with that Week 1 DraftKings lineup.
Sean, you're awesome.
I am awesome. Thanks, Ryan. You know what else is awesome?
What else is awesome, Sean?
Fantasy fucking football. All right, let's do it. Let's break down our top 10 receivers. Kramer?
No, you go first this
Okay.
time, Sean.
I'm going to go first. This guy, there's a chance he's not even on your list.
Whoa.
He's a player for the Cincinnati Bengals, and that is A.J. Green. He only played 9 games last year.
Who's he?
He's a receiver for the Cincinnati Bengals.
Oh, wow, okay.
Only played 9 games last year, but for the most part in his career, pretty reliable guy as far as receptions, yards, touchdowns. He missed a big part of the season due in part to a toe injury. Toe injury seems all good to go. He's coming back. He's in a contract year. It's a make-or-break year for A.J. Green and a make-or-break year for the Red Rocket himself, Andy Dalton.
Oh,
I think
God.
if you're Andy Dalton and you're trying to stay in the league, you're going to get A.J. Green as many targets as you can. If you're A.J. Green, you're trying to get paid. Maybe he gets a deal done before the season. But, you know, the Brown family or whoever owns the Bengals,
They're cheap.
Notoriously super cheap.
Cheap.
I think they're gonna need him to go out and prove himself.
Got it.
The defenses in the AFC North don't really scare me. I think AJ Green could have a good year. And at number 10, also no one's talking about AJ Green. So if you're in round 4, round 5, you could get an AJ Green. I think. What's his ADP, Ryan?
You're putting me on the spot. I'll pull it up. I actually agree with you. I do.
Wow.
I like AJ Green, and but I put him a little higher, Sean.
Okay.
I'll
Overall, he's 35th ADP, and Fantasy Pros have him ranked 12th overall. So I'm a little higher.
Well,
Did he make your top 10?
Yeah, he did.
Okay.
I think AJ Green is one of those guys we kind of forget about from time to time. I feel like
he slipped under the radar because he was out the whole second half of the season.
But for my first guy on the list, I went with Keenan Allen.
Oh, okay.
I know you're probably gonna say, but Ryan, why wouldn't you put Keenan Allen higher? I honestly think Hunter Henry's really gonna cut into there.
You're right. I had Hunter Henry super high in the tight ends
and
list.
for whatever reason, when I just worry that I just have this thing that Keenan Allen isn't gonna play every game. So while
You're
I think
probably remembering the
maybe
week 1 was it where he blew out his ACL and
it might have been
boy
that.
buddy.
San Diego Superchargers. Charge.
Just saw the whole season go up in flames. It's like when Brady blew out his ACL week 1. Decker was just devastated. He goes, He immediately knew. He's like, it's non-contact. It's an ACL. He's done. The season's over. It's just, it's so devastating as a fan. So many months and days leading up to the offseason. You finally kick this thing off, and then it's all over. So maybe that's tainting your perspective, Ryan.
Maybe. Anyway, Keenan Allen's going to be my 10th guy. I think if he plays every game, his upside is much higher.
Interesting. I'm going, my number 9, man by the name. Now, again, this is a bit of a roll of the dice. I am a gambler, Ryan. Our motto here on the podcast is let it ride. And so I'm letting it ride. I'm picking Sammy Watkins at number 9. A little controversial.
Oh my God!
This is a play just on the idea that Tyreek Hill is not going to play all 16 games. I think he plays 8, maybe 6.
Let's talk about this real quick because obviously he's not going to be on either one of our lists for top 10 receivers.
No.
How many games is he missing?
I'm going to say 8. 8 feels right. Or I could see him being I think 8
How many
is
games
the
did
minimum.
AP miss?
AP only missed like 1 or 2.
Okay.
But
how many games did Ray Rice miss? 6?
Well, he missed 2. Yeah, I think he missed 6.
Isn't that more reason? You think he's going to miss more than 8 or more than 6?
Yeah. Because
Why?
because all the shit the NFL keeps getting, and because of how brutal this was, the audio tape that was released, and just all the shit Roger Goodell's been getting. I could be wrong. It just seems that they're trending towards harsher punishments. And again, little conspiracy theory. He lays the hammer down on Tyreek Hill very hard, and the CBA's coming up. This is a chance for Roger Goodell to flex his muscles. So when the players try and argue for less, argue against owner control, the owners will try and, or like, what's going to happen with the CBA is that they're going to try and say, we want Roger Goodell to have less control. This is a good time for him to flex his muscles, show some control, and then what's going to happen is the players will argue to get some of that control back and give up some money potentially. But all that being said, I think he's going to miss more than 6 games. I'd be surprised, but again, it's a bit of a kangaroo court. It's tough to predict how the NFL is going to rule in these. But what I will say is, our pal Warren Sharp had this stat. Watkins had a 116 passer rating and a 63% success rate when targeted. Both numbers were better than Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill. So there is a connection there with Mahomes. With Tyreek Hill out, maybe that connection grows. That's what I'm banking on.
All right, Sean.
Give me your 8.
My 9. I've only given
Give me your 9.
I've given you 1.
Yes.
1 less than 10 is 9. This is where I have AJ Green. Still, I'm going to let that go all the way through. Still an elite talent. He's had some injuries. What'd you say, 9 games last year?
Yep.
He's still AJ Green. I still think when it comes down to it, if he's going to be healthy, which I feel like he's been fairly healthy in his career. Last year, maybe an anomaly. I still like you're having the conversation at this point in the draft where you're deciding between AJ Green, T.Y. Hilton, Amari Cooper, Adam Thielen, guys like this. And to me, AJ Green has the upside. He's still the
contract year too.
He's contract year. He's still the 6'4", 6'5" physical specimen that he has been. I just think you got to put him in there, and I think you're going to get potentially he could continue to fall because there will be players like surely the Cowboys fan in your draft will take Amari Cooper, and there will be guys that want the upside of T.Y. Hilton.
Yeah,
Brandon Cooks will be like, oh yeah, he's Did you see on NFL Network? I don't remember who the ex-player was, but he had his wide receiver rankings, and he had Julian Edelman number 4. Like, come on, man!
In the AFC East, not in the entire league.
It was bad in the entire league, Sean. In the entire league. Anyway, AJ Green I almost put him higher, but I'm going to leave him at number 9.
Yeah, the more we talk about him, the more I'm kind of liking him more. This one, I have him way lower than almost everyone. Well, maybe not.
Almost everyone.
Number 8, Antonio Brown.
Wow.
It's a little crazy, but I just think this Oakland team, I'm just seeing disaster.
Long. Cox.
I'm really concerned about Derek Carr as a quarterback. But you look at Antonio Brown's production. I mean, from 2013 on, 110 receptions, 129, 136, 106, 101, 104. That's 6 years of 100+ receptions. Touchdowns almost all in the double digits, except 2017. He only had 9. Coming off a career high 15 touchdowns. It just seems this isn't going to go well in Oakland. They're looking ahead towards Las Vegas. They have Hard Knocks happening. I could see it being a real disaster. He's hard to go against because he's been so productive and he is so good. But I'm staying away from Antonio Brown. I got him number 8. Who's your number 8, Ryan?
See, this is so funny. I have the same thing.
Really?
And I have an over.
Oh my God!
I have an over on him for catches because I think he easily gets. I think the over was 97.5 catches. He's getting 100 catches, but that doesn't necessarily mean he's having a great year.
I don't think he's. I think he could have like 90 catches, 6 touchdowns.
He's.
I think the touchdowns are going to be the issue.
I think he has I think he catches a lot of short shit. I think he gets a lot of. I mean, you got to think about this, right? He plays every game. You only need like 6.3 catches a game. It's not a ton.
Derek Carr doesn't do well in the pocket. He just doesn't.
Here's the reason. While I think Antonio Brown will be fine from a catch perspective, to your point, there's so many ways this can go wrong. It's hard for me to rank him higher, and I don't see a scenario where I could be talked into taking Antonio Brown unless he really starts to fall down to this range where I am. If I'm deciding between Antonio Brown and AJ Green, then I'm like, cool, I'll take Antonio Brown.
Yep.
It may go wrong, but now this might be this is a second round pick now.
Yeah.
That's a different story.
He's not a first-round pick for me.
But that's why we're lockstep here, Sean. Antonio Brown's my number 8.
He's getting up there in the years. Yeah, he came in the league 2010. If you told me after all the drama he went through, after all this crazy productivity, is he going to trend up or down?
Yeah.
How do you make the case for trending up? How do you say he's going to have a better year than what he did last year?
Well, and
it's just a tough case to make.
It's also just the fact that, and I wanted to pull up. Do you have his stats from last year in front of you?
Yeah.
How many catches did he have?
104.
So
15 touchdowns, though.
He's not having 15 touchdowns.
Right.
So I think he gets right on that 100 catch mark, and I think the yardage is probably around 1,200. And maybe he finds the end zone every other game, 8 touchdowns.
Yeah, so
again,
7 touchdowns less is a big drop.
Big drop, and then, again, that's why I think second round. You're targeting him in the second round, Sean. Who's your number 7?
Give me T.Y. Hilton of the Indianapolis Colts. It's a simple formula. When T.Y. Hilton's healthy and Andrew Luck are healthy, amazing production.
He's just not. He doesn't stay healthy.
Well, that's a real concern. But this is the beginning of the season.
Devin Funchess is there now. You worried about that?
Nah, I just like T.Y. Hilton. I mean, it's really nothing more crazy than that. He's just a guy that Andrew Luck loves. That Frank Wright offense. It seems like there's just going to be a lot of opportunities for him. I know he's been plagued by injuries, but last year, off the top of your head, what do you think he did receptions wise?
87.
76.
Okay.
6 touchdowns. And that was in 14 games. I think even in 14, 15 games, I could see him having slightly better numbers.
One of the things that the guys at the Fantasy Pros talk about a lot is basically percentage of your games where you scored as a wide receiver 1 or a wide receiver 2 or whatever. And T.Y. Hilton, in 64.3% of his games, has posted wide receiver 2 or better numbers. That means he's a top 24 player that week. I really like T.Y. Hilton. T.Y. Hilton is someone that in the 8 to 12 range, I'm definitely targeting in best ball. I'm probably ranking him around here in best ball even because of that boom or bust. But for what we're doing, I left him off my top 10.
Wow.
Just because I feel like there's a lot there.
What the fuck?
Jack Doyle and Ebron at tight end, and we know how much Luck likes the tight end. You sprinkle in some Nyheim Hines, and who knows? I mean, I'm not a big fan of Devin Funchess, but he might get the ball. Luck likes throwing to the larger targets. That all being said, T.Y. Hilton will certainly have a handful of games this year where he scores 2 touchdowns.
7 sounds right to me, but you could make the case for, I think his floor is probably 12 or 13 for me.
So I would say he's probably like 11 for me.
Okay. Who's your 7?
Just missed the cut. My 7, Odell Beckham Jr.
Wow. Come on, Ryan.
I almost left him off the list. I almost, but should I leave him off and just bump T.Y. to no? Listen,
no. Stay true to your list, Ryan. Hype. Why does he deserve the 7th spot, or why don't you have him higher? Because you gave me shit for Kyle Rudolph, my ranking of Rudolph, but defend this number 7 ranking of Odell Beckham.
So Beckham has been on teams where he has been the clear volume guy on the offense, right? High percentage of targets flowing through him.
Mm-hmm.
That will not be the case this year.
Whoa.
They have 2 running backs to feed. They have a tight end. They have a Jarvis Landry who will certainly see a number of targets. Listen, I get it. Odell is great. He's probably the guy, like, he's number 7. He could be number 1. He could certainly have a set of monster games. I even like him better in best ball because I think he will have some explosive games.
That's Odell Beckham having an explosive game.
He's going to a new team. He's going to a team that has so much hype around it. So much media attention.
I think that is scary for this Cleveland team.
The quarterback already created a minor fracture. I know. I'm overreacting. I'm letting the hot take media machine get to me.
Oh, hot.
But what do you think's going to happen when the passion of Odell Beckham spills over and he starts fighting kicking nets again?
Well, then he'll fall in love with the kicking
It's
nets.
going to spiral out of control.
I thought he proposed the kicking
It's
net.
going to spiral out of control. Again, this is more when I play these ranking games, it's kind of like where's the group where I'm going to target Odell, and I like him more than Antonio Brown. If those 2 guys were sitting there in the second round, I would be ecstatic because that's a great second round pick. I like 6 other guys better than Odell.
My number 6 for the New Orleans Saints. Give me Michael Thomas.
Whoa.
And maybe 6 is too low. But I think for me the guys I have above him are kind of, well, a couple are a little bit more like rolling the dice guys. But Michael Thomas, I mean, what's not to like about Michael Thomas? Maybe I should have him higher, but he's in his 4th year. Drew Brees loves throwing him the ball. I mean, you look at his 3 years in the league: 92, 104, 125 receptions, touchdowns 959. 10 plus games in a dome. This guy should have another really big year, and maybe 6 is too low. I guess it just came down to me liking a couple other guys that people had ranked lower as trending up, and Thomas. I don't think he's going to do 125 and 9. I think it'll be a little less. I don't think you can really go up from that. So, and there's a chance Drew Brees is hitting the wall. Like these 40-year-old plus quarterbacks, it just can't go on forever. So that's why I don't have him higher than 6, but I certainly like him. Who's your number 6, Kramer?
And to piggyback on that, the Saints would be quote comfortable making him the highest paid receiver in the game. So
that's a little scary for a young guy in hanging out in Bourbon Street.
It sounds like they're trying to get a deal done by training camp.
Yeah, I don't know. Those guys, the guys who get the huge deal that are skill position, a little scary, right?
A little bit.
I could, if he see, to me, I think he trends down. I just don't think you can go up from 125 and 9. I think he's going to be like a 100 catch 7 guy.
I actually think he will score at least that many touchdowns, and we'll discuss this later, Sean, because he's a little higher up on my list.
Great. Who's your 6?
Number 6, Mike Evans. Bruce Arians. Yes, I'm going to be high on Tampa in fantasy football this year, unfortunately, but I just think I dove in, Sean. I read a little profile about Bruce Arians, kind of talked about what he plans to do in terms of that offense and leveraging Jameis Winston's strengths, as he put it, which is putting the ball down the field. Volume, deep passing is what I think he said. I think Mike Evans, maybe I'm too low at 6, but for me, I like Mike Evans more than Odell Beckham because I think the floor is much higher. And that's the justification there. And I
makes sense in a top 10.
I'm very excited about Tampa. Like if I can end up with Mike Evans and Ronald Jones on some teams, I'm going to be very happy.
You had no Adam Humphries, no Deshaun Jackson.
I mean, Jameis Winston is still really good at throwing the ball to the other team as well. Like, I'm not trying to say they're going to be a great team. I don't necessarily think they're going to be a bounce back. Like, this could be the year the Bucs take that step and make the playoffs.
Yeah, you know what? Mike Evans didn't make my top 10 list.
Really?
And I didn't have a super strong opinion on him one way or the other. He just didn't crack my top 10. I guess I would probably have him in that 12 to 15 range, just outside here.
He's averaged 148 targets. I guess the argument would be that Godwin and O.J. Howard.
Yeah, I'm higher on O.J. Howard as far as who's going to get the.
Do you remember how good Mike Evans made Johnny Football look throwing that deep ball at Texas A&M? Bruce Arians loves throwing it deep, and Winston throws that inaccurate, fluttery ball. It's perfect. They're Mike Evans. Here's the hot take. If I had some balls, I probably would have put Mike Evans even higher. I will absolutely be targeting in drafts where I'm drafting towards the end of the first round. I will be targeting Mike Evans in that second round pick.
So you're gonna wait. So you see Mike Evans as a first round pick?
No, set the early second round pick.
So like if you have the 10 pick in a 10-team league,
yeah,
he's gonna be your 11th.
I'm assuming it's going to be in that range. Yeah, I would absolutely consider him there. I just think he's another guy that just so much volume. And again, a little bit about this offensive scheme.
Coming in at number 5, give me Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen. I'm higher on Keenan Allen than you are. He's just looked really good. I mean, since that ACL injury, he's 2 really strong years in 17 and 18, 102 receptions and 97 receptions, 1,393 yards in 17, 1,196 in 2018, and no Tyrell Williams. Tyrell Williams was a big part of their offense receiving-wise, and I think Phillip, as I call him, is going to split the difference between Keenan and Hunter Henry. So I think both those guys are going to see an increase in production, both in targets, receptions, possibly even touchdowns. So yeah, give me Keenan Allen, number 5.
All right, Sean.
Who's your 5?
Juju.
Okay.
That's just Big Ben. I think he's going to sling it. I think Juju's going to have some monster games, and I think his bad games are going to be fine. So high floor, high ceiling. We don't really know what Juju can be without Antonio Brown. I guess there's that element of, can he be a number 1? I absolutely believe he can be a number 1. And I think I feel like his style works almost better for Ben. And I think we're going to see a lot of improv, post, over the middle, touchdown type stuff. Yeah, I think Mike Evans and Juju are the guys that I'm higher than the average person.
Well, I'm even higher.
Oh, okay.
On Juju Smith-Schuster, Ryan, but I'll reveal that coming up.
Oh, whoa. Okay.
Number 4 spot belongs to Davante Adams of the Green Bay Packers. Since 2016, Antonio Brown is the only person who's caught more touchdowns than Davante Adams. Brown is at 36. Adams is at 35. He's also had 28 red zone touchdowns in the past 3 years. I'm not super high on the Green Bay Packers, but again, he seems to be the number 1 option. You still have Aaron Rodgers there. Aaron Rodgers, while I'm not high on the team, I think Rodgers and Davante Adams, that's a combo I'm looking to stack a lot during this DFS campaign. I think Aaron Rodgers is just going to be in FU mode. There was whatever beef he had with Mike McCarthy. He's here to show I know what I'm doing. And Matt LaFleur was bringing in his offense. But really, Aaron Rodgers is going to do Aaron Rodgers. And now he's won the power struggle with the coach. He's going to get to do whatever he wants back there. He's going to be improvising. And he's going to be throwing the ball to Davante Adams a ton. I think they're going to be throwing the ball a ton, and I think Davante Adams is going to be getting a ton of targets.
I agree with that statement.
It's a fair statement to make, Ryan.
It's a very fair statement.
I mean, he had 111 catches last year on 169 in targets. You could make a case and 13 touchdowns. I think he beats all three of those. I think he has more targets, more catches, and more touchdowns.
All
Give
right.
me Devontae Adams.
Are we 4?
Yes. Give us your
Number
fourth
4,
receiver.
Julio Jones. This is maybe unfair, but this is all about the fact that there's clearly something about him finding the end zone. That's it. I don't know what it is. Yes, he will be banged up as well. He will play through some stuff. He may be a decoy for a game or two. But that's why I couldn't put him in the top 3.
Julio Jones didn't make my top 10.
Whoa.
I know.
You just realized you forgot about Julio
What the
Jones.
fuck?
No, I mean, I wouldn't, I was kind of picking through there, and this one is just a complete gut play. I've just looked at the receiver board, and I couldn't find a guy to put. I couldn't find somewhere to take someone out that I liked Julio Jones better than. I'm not on board with the Matt Ryan era. I'm not on board with that offense. I think this team hasn't been the same since 28-3, and I think that's going to impact their offense. And I'm blanking on the name, but who's the young receiver?
Calvin Ridley.
Calvin Ridley, I think, really could impact the Julio Jones impact.
He led the NFL in receiving yards and finished tied for 3rd in catches. So
No, I mean,
he
I
plays
get
on
it.
turf.
I'm clearly contrarian here with not having Julio Jones in my top 10 receivers list. I just don't see a monster game coming from Julio or a monster season. And again, injury history, getting up there in age.
So I think if
You gotta, for me, it's like you gotta in these lists, you gotta make some stands. And for me, my stand, you heard it in the tight end podcast. Won't reveal which tight end I'm not high on, but for me, it's just I think we may be turning the page on Julio.
Here's the thing too. When you make these, part of the reason you should make rankings is because you can kind of see where you're ranking someone off of your teams just based on where they're going to get drafted. And Julio is one of those guys. He's probably going to go late first round, early second.
And maybe that's why in my head I don't imagine myself drafting Julio in fantasy football because where he's going to go, ADP, average draft position, I would never consider him. And like, yeah, if he really was around in the 2nd or 3rd round where you would pick a 10 or 11 or 12 receiver, then yeah, I would probably take him, but it's just not going to happen. Someone in your league is going to take him in the end of the 1st round. Right?
I think unless you have Julio as a top, unless you're taking Julio in the top 10 picks, you probably won't get him. I guess. I mean, again, it's weird because
well, especially with square people, and they just look at, oh, hey, he had this awesome year last year. They're not looking to project it all, and you certainly, even if you're a sharp guy, you can make a good case for Julio.
Again, I have him number 4, so I think we're splitting hairs here. But I don't think I'll find him having a lot of I will not have a lot of stock in him this year just based on how I'm ranking him. Who's your number 3, Sean?
The boat trip himself,
Wow.
Odell Beckham Jr. Certainly personality in the locker room. Certainly a bit of a handful. But huge upgrade at the quarterback position.
Oh,
Baker Mayfield, much better quarterback than Eli Manning.
here we go.
And you talk about Baker Mayfield throwing to Mike Evans. Right, Ryan? We were just talking about that.
No, that's Johnny Football.
Oh, right, Johnny.
Baker Mayfield threw it to some receivers at Oklahoma.
Wait, didn't one receiver? Who's the receiver that he really? Who's what's up?
What are you trying to say, Sean?
Who is the Oklahoma receiver that caught a bunch of passes from him? I'm blanking on his name. Oh, Marquise Brown.
Marquise Brown.
Okay. Anyway, what I was getting at is Odell Beckham Jr. getting to play with the Baker Mayfield, who I think is getting overhyped, but certainly is a nice upgrade.
He does. I mean, I get the Johnny Football comparisons. It's kind of insulting to Baker Mayfield. Although Johnny Football,
It is easy to get them kind of confused.
Johnny Football never commented on another man's contract.
And you're kind of fucking around there, but I do think this Cleveland Browns locker room is a powder keg. But if you're Freddie Kitchens, there's one guy you have to get the ball to, and that is Odell Beckham Jr. You have to. Your job depends on it. And
True.
He's going to get a tremendous amount of targets. And if you're Baker Mayfield, you want to throw to a guy who's going to get you tons of yards after the catch, that the crowd is going to go nuts for, that the crowd is just dying for football. Odell Beckham's going to get like 170 targets, even with Jarvis
You
Landry
think so?
and Njoku.
Maybe I'm off on this because I that's part of the reason I have question around him is I don't know if he's going to see all those targets.
I don't think as to how well it's going to work, I'm up in the air, but I think the target share alone is going to be so high that his catching ability, his ability to get yards after catch, it's just going to happen for him.
I guess I see it. I think like you've really locked in on the Raiders situation, like going wrong.
You could make
Hard
almost
Knocks,
the same case for the Browns.
Well, that's the problem. The Freddie Kitchens thing. We haven't mentioned Freddie Kitchens yet, but
And maybe he's completely exposed. But to me, it's like, I know John Gruden's a bad coach. I don't know if Freddie Kitchens is a bad coach.
Sean.
And to me, it was like Cleveland is trending up. And maybe
Sean.
we're getting ahead of ourselves with the hype, but Oakland is just
Sean.
horrible.
I mean, at least Gruden is something, even if it's a caricature. Freddie, what do you think is going to happen the first time Freddie Kitchen gets in Odell's face? That's not going to go well.
Right.
Who the fuck is Freddie Kitchens?
Exactly. And so what are they going to do to calm the situation? Throw Odell the ball. And we're not even talking about his potential for passing touchdowns. We had threw a deep ball.
He does throw a nice deep ball.
Yeah. So yeah, give me the boat trip at number 3.
That's
Who do you got
probably
for
where
your
I
third?
should have Michael Thomas. No
Okay.
brainer here. Again, I was super high on him. I've been high on him. He's been top 10 every year he's played. Drew Brees likes throwing him the ball, and I think we're going to see the touchdowns stay around where they were. I think he's going to get the bulk of the catches. I think having Cook there will help him not see so much coverage. But
Real quick, I got a
what happened, Sean?
Odell Beckham in 2018. He was 2 for 2 for 106 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Okay, that's bonus points right there.
That's 4 points for the yards and 8 points for the touchdown. That's another 12 points.
I was in the middle of talking about Michael
didn't mean to
Thomas,
interrupt.
who I have ranked higher than Odell Beckham.
Interesting.
Michael Thomas is a pure floor play, and to me, the reason you take the running backs in the first round is because of volume. Michael Thomas will see that same volume, and while maybe he doesn't have quite the ceiling as the guys at my 2 and 1 spot, and maybe even below him like a Juju, I just think Michael Thomas is going to get you so many points every week. That floor is – he's like what do you think, 12 points a week minimum? It just seems he's constant, and I think the offense will continue to flow through him. I'm probably higher on him than most, but Michael Thomas is my number 3.
I think a slight decline in Drew Brees, slight. And that's why I have him down at 6.
I'm so glad we're doing video right now because
Slight.
everyone gets to see your
My act out on the
I don't
slight.
even know what that was.
YouTube.com/sportsgambling podcast. My number 2 receiver, DeAndre Hopkins. And to be honest, I had him. He was ranked number 1, but he fell 1 spot during this podcast as we talked, Ryan.
Really?
Yes. He's already dropping. But I love DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, the guy's just so fun to watch. The athletic plays he makes. And again, Bill O'Brien, the guy's a simple man, right? Like, their offense is never anything tricky, anything ever, like, hard to figure out.
Yep.
Like, hey, Deshaun Watson, run around
Yeah.
and throw the football to DeAndre Hopkins.
Are
Okay.
we worried about his health? Not Hopkins. Watson.
Yeah, that certainly is a concern, but I think he has the full offseason to heal. he was coming back off the ACL.
But
and
the
then
style
long.
of play, the offensive line problems.
Yeah, that's certainly. But Hopkins is a guy that even in 2017, when when he was out, when Deshaun Watson was out, he still had 96 catches, 13 touchdowns for almost 1,400 yards. I think he is, QB independent of kind of the results. 163 targets last year, 115 catches, 11 touchdowns. The guy is just super consistent. I think he has another big year. And this is crazy. He had basically a career year last year in catches and yards with 1,572 yards. And it turned out he was playing on torn ligaments in his shoulder. And they said the ligaments are like completely off the bone. Like this dude, he's not a big guy, but the guy is a fucking gamer.
Look, I was going to throw that out to help your argument because he's also my number 2. He was number 1 last year. I think he just it's hard. He's got to be there. He's got to be number 2. At least I could see him being number 1. He played through a shitload of injuries. He has the opportunities. They play the Sandlot style, all the things you said. I could see him having a similar year this year. I'm super high on my number 1 guy. And it sucks when Watson gets hurt, but even then, it seems like Hopkins still gets his. He's the best catcher of the football in the National Football League, Sean.
Yeah, I was looking at that catch rate.
He just grabs everything. And so you'd be silly to not have him as one of your first 2 receivers. He's definitely when you're looking at the mock draft, Sean, and you're getting after the I don't know, for me it's the big 5 for the running backs. After them, when you're talking about do I like Le'Veon Bell, do I like David Johnson, or do I like DeAndre Hopkins? Like he's in there for me. So DeAndre Hopkins, he's a monster. He's just a monster.
Love it.
Nook. I don't love the nickname. He should figure something out.
Yeah, no one calls him that. My number 1 receiver is for the Pittsburgh Steelers, Juju Smith-Schuster.
I really thought you were going to put Zach Ertz as the number 1 wide receiver.
Well, he does split out, and he does. Well, that's a great point, Ryan, because when they scored the go-ahead touchdown in the Super Bowl, he was split out as a receiver. So great point. And the 2 tight end sets they'll be using, he will be split out as a receiver. No, this belongs to Juju Smith-Schuster. I love guys, especially in the receiver position, that 3rd or 4th year.
Yep.
They've showed you year 1, year 2, high production, high level of athleticism, and now year 3, year 4, year 5, this is where they start to figure out the different routes, how to be crafty, how to get that separation. You combine that with the huge targets that are up for grabs. We just said, Antonio Brown had an insane amount of targets between him and Jesse James. That's over 200 plus targets that are up for grabs. And Juju had 111 catches playing with Antonio Brown. Yeah. The ceiling is the floor, Ryan.
Wow, that's
the
time is a flat circle.
That's what Michael Jordan said, I think, once. The ceiling is the floor, and this guy is just, injuries aside, he only played 13 games. Yeah. He started 13 games and had 111 catches. If this guy can be healthy the entire season, and the yards after catch in 2017 and 2018, his longest catch from the line of scrimmage, 97 yards.
You're so fired up.
He had 2 97-yard plays.
You're so fired up.
What's not? To me, this is just finding that. It just screams value because I feel like he's not getting. Not enough people are talking about what Juju is going to have this year. Now, I guess the scary thing is Big Ben hitting the wall, hanging on by a thread, his health, and that's a legit concern.
Yeah.
That aside, I'm all in on Juju.
The same reason I liked Vance McDonald. And I like him too. I think he does have that high upside. I think there's the concern of Ben there, but God, so many opportunities. Like you said, he performed with Antonio Brown, so you can only imagine what that will look like with Brown gone. Sean.
Yes.
2014, Aaron Rodgers had 38 touchdowns. 2015, Aaron Rodgers had 31 touchdowns. 2016, he had 40 touchdowns. He got hurt in 2017, so I'm going to throw that out. Last year, he only had 25 touchdowns, Sean. Davante Adams was the number 3 fantasy wide receiver when Aaron Rodgers only threw for 25 touchdowns. The floor is the ceiling. Or whatever the fuck you just said. To me, when I'm having that discussion after those first 5 picks of who I want to take, hard for me to look past Davante Adams.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers is still Aaron Rodgers. I know we like DeAndre Hopkins because of Deshaun Watson and that style, but Davante Adams gets his week in and week out. He averaged – what did he – again, Fantasy Pros, but Adams is the only receiver in the NFL who hit that was a top 24 wide receiver every game last year. Consistency, Aaron Rodgers, and some – in general, touchdown regression for the Packers.
Yeah, that's a good
and potentially more volume based on the new offense. All of those things combined, when I have the number 6 pick, I'm not taking Le'Veon Bell. I'm taking Davante Adams. I'm not taking David Johnson. I'm taking Davante Adams. To me, and Sean, now that we have our lists, we can make an informed decision, because on the Tight Ends podcast, we said, where does Travis Kelce fall in your wide receivers? So if you're looking at your rankings, Sean, in which spot do you slot Travis Kelce in at?
The slot. How's the slot?
I would put him at 4.5.
Whoa.
Well, shit, but I have Michael Thomas 6. But you know what? No, I'll go 6.5. I would have him above T.Y. Hilton, below Michael Thomas.
So if I'm talking about a standard league where you just have that one tight end spot, he's number 8 after Odell, because all those other receivers to me have immense ceilings.
Yeah.
If we're talking FFPC, I'm taking him. He's in the group with Davante Adams and DeAndre Hopkins. At number 6, I'm considering Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
So anyway, I think you're going to think about this, Sean, and we're going to record something closer to the season where we talk about fantasy football, and you're going to be all over Davante Adams, because all we're going to be talking about how this Green Bay offense is going to regress. Aaron Rodgers is not going to find – he averaged less than 2 touchdowns a game, Sean.
No, that's a great point.
That is not going to happen next year. Aaron Rodgers will average 2.5 touchdowns a game. I just don't see how he doesn't. So Davante Adams is my number 1 guy. Do we want to play the game where we throw out some late rounders?
Yeah, toss out any receiver we haven't mentioned, I guess.
I mean, there's lots of them, but
just throw out one sleeper, Ryan.
Well, we've been talking a lot about Pittsburgh. You know who's on Pittsburgh now, Sean? Dante Moncrief. Someone else is going to have to catch some passes. And he's going super, super late. Like, he's going in the 60 to 70 range for wide receivers. So I certainly, again, when you're looking for sleepers at the wide receiver position, part of the battle is looking for opportunity, right?
Yep.
And being the number 2 guy or the number 3 guy in an offense where we're going to see a lot of passing, I think that's what you have to target.
Ryan, what does Eli Manning like to do?
He likes to throw it to the slot.
The slot. How's the slot?
He likes to check it down. He's going to need some easy completions.
Saquon Barkley's not a sleeper wide receiver.
No, but I think Golden Tate, because no one's going to draft him very high, I think he could get a lot of easy receptions. He didn't fit well in the Eagles offense.
Yeah.
But in the Giants low octane offense.
Hey, I will say he will very easily be.
Don't you just see Eli dropping back, getting a lot of pressure? Just checking to Golden Tate, who's like 5 yards off.
Golden Tate also had nice metrics running on the outside too. I think that was a Pro Football Focus thing. Regardless, I love the angle because I'm not someone who's going to be a homer with fantasy football. Now, yes, I'm going to take Saquon Barkley, but you probably need the first pick to take Saquon Barkley. when I'm looking to take other Giants, this is the kind of thing I like. Sterling Shepard, I don't know where
Sterling Shepard, I don't. He's I think.
So they're ranked right around the same area. It looks like.
And for me, Golden Tate's the play, and then maybe it's a sleeper, but
We've seen Shepard perform. I think both of those guys could have productive years. I think this offense is going to – I mean, Sean, they scored the most touchdowns in the division last year. I think they're going to be able to put up some points, and I think both of those receivers will be relevant. What sucks, you got to pick one. So I like your angle. Golden Tate, he's a Jersey kid. We got to get behind him. Corey Davis is a guy that we see him ranked lower than guys like Tyler Boyd, Allen Robinson, Robbie Anderson. I don't get it. I think Corey Davis is a stud. I think Corey Davis has had a really shitty quarterback situation that I understand. It's the same quarterback situation, but to me, Corey Davis looks like a number one receiver, and he's being drafted pretty late. He's ranked somewhere in the 30s for wide receivers. Another guy I love. I'm going to have a lot of him just because of the situation and where he will certainly end up going, and that is another Pittsburgh guy, James Washington. Again, if you're in best ball or regular with a really deep bench, it's okay to end up with Washington and Moncrief, but I just you need to find the offenses where we're going to see a lot of pass catching. And that brings me to my other guy, and that's Marquise Valdez-Scantling. Again, late, we're talking in the 40 to 50 range, but again, that offense will move the ball. Receivers will score. So, you got any, Sean?
Yeah, this is just this is a random guy.
Yeah, all right, who is it? From the Eagles?
No, he's from the Seahawks.
Okay.
He's going to be getting, I think, Doug Baldwin. I mean, what's up with Doug Baldwin? Is he just like done?
I think he's done.
Yeah. So this guy is basically slotted in to start alongside Tyler Lockett, and that is David Moore.
Ooh, you liked him last year.
I liked him last year. Maybe I was a little bit early, but he did have
premature.
Listen, no one talked about this guy, and he had 5 receiving touchdowns and on 26 catches.
Sean, you talked about him.
No, I did. And he's a guy that, he's like 80th receiver, 75th. Like, this is a guy that I'm already looking at. I think he's going to get a huge increase in targets, receptions, and touchdowns. He's one of those guys. This, again, is why I say I recommend going to these local team subreddits, because you can just scroll through and see, like, who are the guys that everyone's talking about. And this David Moore guy came up on my radar because all the Seattle beat writers were writing about him, and I tried to get it out of the curve. Maybe I was a little too ahead, but clearly Russell Wilson likes him, and Russell Wilson's here to stay. So, yeah, give me some David Moore.
Another guy, I'm going back to the well from last year, Traquan Smith. Again, New Orleans. I think he was the receiver who caught Drew Brees' record-setting touchdown. And again, volume offenses. And you know what, Sean? You remember when John Brown was lighting it up for Arizona?
Yes.
And then he went to Baltimore, and Lamar Jackson couldn't throw him the ball. He's now in Buffalo. Strange pairing here. Quarterback, not super accurate, but has massive arm with kind of a nice deep ball receiver. Again, best ball selection maybe here, but John Brown, I like that angle. And right around that same kind of ranking area, Emmanuel Sanders was awesome last year.
Yeah.
I get it. He's old.
No, but he's coming off an Achilles.
I get it. He's old.
But it was a December Achilles.
Am I reading the wrong thing? But isn't he going? Did I not read that he's saying he's coming back?
Yeah, but
I just think he's going so late, Sean. I understand.
Emmanuel Sanders uncertain when he'll be back from Achilles injury.
I'm seeing right here. He's expected to return in mid-July.
Okay.
Anyway,
I get what you're saying. Worth rolling the dice.
All right, at the rankings I'm looking at right now, he's number 59.
Yeah, I saw
right,
him.
Sean?
I saw him in the 80s. So you're right. Maybe he is the guy that.
He's the number one receiver if he's playing.
That's true.
I'm trying to give people some diamonds.
Some deep dives. All right.
What was that gimmick? That guy we had? Diamonds and Fugazis. Can we give out one Fugazi?
Yeah, sure. Throw out a Fugazi.
Who's your Fugazi?
Oh, jeez.
Amari Cooper as a top 10 receiver. That's my Fugazi. He had so many targets. All right, 2 words. Dakota Prescott.
He's about to get paid, Ryan. More than Carson Wentz.
How do you think that's gonna go?
Yeah. Again, I just don't see it.
Sean, have we talked about the
Tyler Boyd would kind of be my Fugazi just because I'm higher on AJ Green and he seems a little overrated.
He definitely feels like one of these hype guys. And frankly, I think DJ Moore is another guy you got to be careful with. Cam Newton's just going to throw every pass.
Oh,
to McCaffrey.
I got news for you. Cam Newton ain't starting. Will Grier is Rookie of the Year, baby. If I'm over at mybookie.ag and I see a Will Grier 40-1 Rookie of the Year,
stop it. Stop it. Sean.
He's gonna play. He's gonna win 8 games.
You're discredit. When do you draft Tyreek Hill?
I don't know.
What if he appeals and he plays the whole year?
Roger Goodell. As much as you want to criticize Roger Goodell, he's not a monster, right? No, he kind of is. But he will make
he's
sure.
He's the exact monster.
Roger Goodell will make sure the Tyreek Hill suspension news is out before people start drafting.
No, he won't.
Yes, he will. It'll be like put out like 4th of July afternoon.
And then he'll appeal, right? They can't let that guy play, right?
No. All right, that'll do it.
Thank you for participating in the Sports Gambling Podcast.
You got somewhere to go, Sean?
Yeah, I do. And make sure you check out the our fantasy football preview on tight ends as well. And check us out, youtube.com/sportsgamblingpodcast. And as always, on the iTunes, rate, review, and share. Give us that 5 stars we need, that 5 stars we crave to keep the free content train a-rolling. For the Sports Gambling Podcast, I'm Sean, stacking the money green, and he is Ryan.
Good job, Sean.
Thank you, Kramer. Let it ride.